my name is Miriam K, and today I want to do a video, basically kind of like a guideline, tips and all of that about traveling to tropical countries or within Africa and also the Caribbean, but more so Africa, because I am from Sierra Leone, and although I've lived in London for some time, I do go back home frequently, and along over the years I've learned a lot about certain things, and although I had gone, so I have been going several, like almost every year, almost. I had not gone. This trip was different because my previous trip, I just came back last week. This trip was different because this time I took my kids with me, that are 2.5, and so there are other things involved that I needed to know about or I didn't know before. Although I had traveled with my nephew, my sister's there, she kind of did everything, so it was quite different. And yeah, so just kind of like tips, advice, guideline and precautions to take. And yeah, so whether for an individual or families, or if you're traveling with kids, all of them, they apply depending on also whether you're going. One thing, before you book your flight, you need to find out if you require a visa to go into that country. So somebody like me, I'm a dual citizen, meaning I am both a British citizen and also a Sierra Leone citizen. So I've got my British passport and I've got my ECOWAS passport, which is the one we use like West African countries. I have both, so I did not require a visa. But my kids, on the other hand, they only have a British passport because they're British. They were born here, so I needed to get visa for them to go to enter into the country. So it's good to find out if you do require, for even you book and give time, because it's different for every country. Like for us to go to Sierra Leone to do your visa process is not long. As you know, our population is not that big. It's only like 6 million people in the country, so our embassy doesn't have that much of a workload. So usually within 2 to 3 days of submitting the application, you will be able to get a visa. Also bear in mind that there is a fee, as far as I know, but it's all different prices for different countries, so you need to find that out. So yeah, so I needed to get a visa for my kids, and I did that by went onto the website, the Sierra Leone Embassy website, printed out the visa application, filled it in, took it in with their passport photos, and then paid the fee. And then a couple of days later I went to pick them up. So that's how it works for Sierra Leone. I don't know about other countries, because my husband is Nigerian and he said their one is much more of a lengthy process to get a visa. So it's important that you find that information. And if you go onto the website, the embassy or the website for the place that you are traveling to, they should have information there, or you can visit or call them. So it's important to know that. And then another thing as well, before you go, please, you need to make sure that you have the necessary vaccinations, like yellow fever. I got yellow fever vaccine back when I was 12, when I was coming into the UK. So before, you used to have to do it, I think after 10 years or so, but now it's just once. So when you've done it once, you don't have to redo it. So it's important as well, because that yellow fever vaccine will help to protect you from things like yellow fever, which can be quite dangerous. And also another thing, malaria, to make sure that you see your doctor and get the right malaria treatment. And most of the time you have to start the treatment maybe like a couple of days before you go, and there are various types. For me and my kids, we had different types, and then ours was every day, but for my mom it was once a week. So speak to your doctor and make sure they're aware and you get all of that sorted. As far as I know that as well, I had to pay for them. Before I didn't used to, but things change all the time, so you need to find that out. And yeah, so I had to do that. And so it's important also to make sure you know what your baggage allowance is, and how many suitcases you're allowed, and all, because you don't want to pack everything and then go and only to find out that no, that's not the case. So you have to make sure you get that sorted as well. And besides even malaria medication, it's also useful to take along some medications that you can get over the counter, like diarrhea medication, for fever, like paracetamol, just things like that. Because even constipation medication, because you don't know how your body or maybe your kids' body is going to be affected, or you don't know how it's going to react to the changes, because it's a huge change to go there if you live like in the Western world. So it's quite a big difference climate wise, everything, lifestyle. So it's important as well to make sure that is sorted. And yeah, so also what I did also I had a first aid kit. The reason being, kids are very, when they go, especially, they're not used to that kind of atmosphere that is so peaceful. Kids can play about, they even go to neighbors, come back and they're safe. So it's very different when you go, and you are not going to be able to have an eye on your kid like 24/7. You can try, but you don't know where they'll go. They give them something, whatever the case may be, and that they might react to it. So it's important that you have things like diarrhea medication, and the changes were in the food, and they might get affected by that. So it's very, very important. And another thing as well, sun cream is also important, because you're going to be exposed to the sun. I know there's this thing, a lot of black people think that, especially African people, we think that we don't need sun cream, and it does nothing for us. It does actually help to protect your skin, because you're under the difference, as I said, in the climate is huge. So in order to protect yourself, it's important to have it. I bought the spray for the spray for the kids, and I think it was the Nivea that I got, that I just spray on them in the morning and just rub it, so at least it helps to protect them and also myself as well. So, and another thing, making sure you have like a hand sanitizer gel, or I call it gel. The reason being, you're constantly going to be, you know, touching things, and it's a lot, you know. And some places in Africa, if we're just honest, some places, not everywhere, some places ain't that, you know, clean. So, and also if you're going to be out in the public, you want to make sure that you protect yourself from getting anything. Or so it's good to have the sanitizer, that I call it gel, and just rub it to just make sure that you just keep yourself clean. And yeah, so that is something as well. And while you are there, also remember that you have to know the kind of water that you're going to be taking, because if you go and you use the water that, even if you grew up and you were born in Africa, when you have lived in this part of the world for some time, your body has changed, your whole system has changed. So when you go back, if you go and drink things like water from the well, it may really affect you. So the best thing is to make sure you stick to tap water. The best thing is to make sure you stick to bottled water and avoid like drinking tap water. You can use tap water for other things, but when it comes to like drinking, it's best to use bottled water, and they have a variety to choose from, and it's safer anyway. So that's what I did. For me, I had the kids had their water bottles, so I just fill it up and they can drink it. So I also make sure I let everybody know, please be careful, don't give them the same water that you guys drink. It may be okay for you, but it might not be okay for them. Even I have had an experience when I went one of the trips I went back home. I had drank water that was from the tap, and I ended up getting, you know, really sick. So to avoid things like that, it's best to just make sure you have a water bottle. So if you're traveling with kids, especially going to Africa, not all the time you have a direct flight, so the journey may be quite lengthy. So it's good that it's important you have like entertainment to keep the kids occupied, because them having to sit down for that entire journey, especially if they're not used to it or they're quite young, it would be quite difficult. For me, the kids, I made sure they had their tablet and things like that, just to keep them entertained, and because they get bored very easily. So, and a lot of airlines as well, they may give kids like some activities and things to do, draw, and things like that anyway, to just help keep them entertained. So it's good to have things like that as well, and so you can keep your kids entertained. And when it comes to phone and communication and everything, if you have a contract phone or a phone that is locked and is not open to all SIM cards, then you will require to get another phone, because then you won't be able to put that SIM card that you will get in Africa onto that phone if the phone is not unlocked. So you need to make sure you have an unlocked phone in order for you to be able to use. You can still use, like when I was there, I still use my contract phone for my apps, to use like WhatsApp and all of that, because I was using Wi-Fi, but I had another phone for my SIM card while I was there to make calls. So yeah, but yeah, and in terms of internet as well, you can top up, you know, but right now the good thing is now they have 4G as well. In Sierra Leone as well, we now have 4G. So a lot of the telecommunication companies, they provide like a mobile Wi-Fi device that you top up, and then you get internet. And it's quite good, because when I was there, I was able to call friends, family. I was able to video call my husband to speak with the kids. I was able to go onto even YouTube, watch videos. It was quite good. And the one that I was using, all of us in the house and our devices can all connect onto it, and it still wouldn't be, it's not slow. So, but there are different types anyway. The one that I got is the 4G one. They have the 3G one, which is obviously a bit slower. So the 4G is the best one. And if you just contact or ask any of the telecommunication mobile companies, they will have their own bundles and their own packages and yeah, things that they offer basically. So it's good to know that as well. Yeah, in terms of also, even though even though you're taking the malaria medication, it is still also important that you use other means as well to protect and kind of keep mosquitoes away. And you can use things like repellent. They have them sometimes sprays, sometimes they even have devices that are mosquito or insect repellent. You just plug it in and it kind of helps. Or you can also use like a mosquito net, mosquito net. You can use that to help further protect you as well, because although you are taking a medication, you are still prone to getting, being bitten by a mosquito and getting malaria. So that just helps to reduce the chances, but you can still, so it's important to use other forms as well to protect yourself, like the mosquito repellent. They have even this spray that you spray it on you to try kind of like help keep them away. They have the spray that you can spray the actual like space, room or whatever. So they have different types. Obviously depends on what works best for you. And in terms of like electricity and everything, yes, a lot of places in Africa does have issue with electricity, like constant electricity, and this is something that I hear people complain about all the time. Luckily for me, while I was back home where I was staying in Sierra Leone, we had electricity every day from afternoon to the next morning, which was good. But while I was out and about, I used a power bank, and the good thing is now they have the solar ones. The one that I was using was a solar, so which means it can charge you using like the sun, the heat, and the sun energy. So it's good as well just to have that backup, and especially if where you're staying you have issues with electricity, or you don't have a generator, it's good to have the power bank to just have something for backup, especially when you're out and about. So I will put a link with a lot of these things that I bought as well, like most of them from like Amazon, eBay, and anything like that. I will have links. If you check the description box below, I'll have links to some of these products to just kind of help, so you don't have to go searching one by one to just save you time, since I've already gone through the process. So yeah, and when you're there as well, be cautious of where you eat, because it's not every place that is quite maybe hygienic as you would think. So just bear that in mind, and make sure wherever it is you're gonna have a meal is somewhere that is reputable, and make sure that they have a clean environment. And I know street food, my mom always tells me to avoid, but they are way too tempting. So I just make sure that, just as I said earlier, that I take like diarrhea medication in case I get a reaction, because when you miss a lot of this food, you miss them so much, you just want to go and eat everything. So it's hard to say, oh, I'm not going to do it. So the best way is to just make sure that you take the necessary precaution, because you may be tempted. And yeah, so just be careful with that. And also when it comes to using like debit cards and things like that, there are cash machines, cash points that you can use, and I don't know if they charge you. I guess every bank has their own policies and everything, so it's good to check with your bank. I didn't use my card while I was there anyway, because I was using my phone to do like mobile banking, money transfer, and just pick it up. So that's what I was doing. So I don't really know whether they charge or not, but it depends on the bank. So it's ideal to check first with your bank before you go, because you don't want to go there, use it only to realize that you have this, to come back and see this crazy bill. So it's good to just be cautious. And what I do as well while I'm there, I was using my phone, that's my contract phone, for my apps and everything, but I put it on flight mode and just connected the Wi-Fi. So that way, because even when you receive calls, even if it's not you calling, when you're receiving, you still get charged for it. Even if it's a text message, you still get charged for it, which is for roaming. So I just make sure my phone is on flight mode, and then I turn on the Wi-Fi, so that way no messages or calls will come in that will end up costing me money. So that is another thing. So I guess those are the things that I can kind of like think of. And yeah, it's good as well to also, especially if you're going with kids, make sure you kind of know with your doctor or anything like that, because with kids, anything. For me, because I'm somebody whose health is not really great, I do have a doctor there, and yeah, beforehand, even just to make sure. So yeah, so those are the things I can think about. And also be very cautious when you're out there, because obviously going to places where poverty is such a huge deal, people, there are things like theft and things like that, so you need to be very careful. For me, when I'm out, even my phone, I try my best not to just put it out there. Maybe in my pocket I use headphones, because I don't want to make myself a target. Sometimes when we go, we want to show off all this gadget, all these things, but sometimes you're making yourself a target through that, because somebody may see it and decide to rob you for that. So be cautious. And even with running as well, make sure wherever you keep your money is safe, and don't take your eyes off your things, because things happen and you don't want to have to go through all the hassle. So it's best to just be aware and make sure you're safe. So those are the things I can really think about. Just make sure you enjoy yourself, and yeah, but do it, you know, with caution, and just take your time, because you don't want to end up going there and something happen that will then prevent you from even enjoying your trip. So it's best to just, I'm no expert, and this is just based on things that I have kind of seen and experienced or heard of. So but just make sure you do your research and make sure you take the necessary precautions and enjoy your trip. Don't let that put you off. Enjoy your trip, and yeah, just stay safe. If you are watching this and you have any other like tips, suggestions, or anything like that, advice, feel free to comment, so at least other people can see it, and also even myself, I will also learn from that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps in some way, shape or form, and enjoy your trip. And thank you, and have a blessed day.